In this video lesson, we're going to continue our look at the quantization options in Pro Tools, specifically in this lesson, the include within feature and the exclude within feature. All right? Two somewhat esoteric features, but worth knowing about nevertheless. We're going to apply those features on these two notes right here. But before we do, let's just refamiliarize ourselves with some of the numbers. Quarter note. How many ticks in a quarter note? 960. All right? If we take that 960 and we divide it by 2, we get 480. So let's just review how 480 plays into that. So here's our range. When we apply quantization using the quarter note grid, Pro Tools looks out 480 ticks before the grid and 480 ticks behind the grid and grabs everything within that and snaps it to the grid. So 480 looks 480 before, looks 480 after, and grabs everything in between. And we can use the options in the event list operation quantize feature to maybe not quantize everything if we so desire. All right? So now that we've got that number 480 going, let's take a percentage of that, and let's just work with an easy number. Let's take 10%. Okay, so 480 times 0.1, 48 ticks. All right. Now that we've got that number 48 established, let's go ahead and see where these notes are. Let's zoom out. And we can see that this first note, the top note I've highlighted, is 47 ticks behind the grid. Measure 2, beat 1, tick 47. Okay, that means it's within that 48 tick 10% range. Let's keep that in mind. Let's take a look at the bottom note. That tick is at measure 2, beat 1, tick 49, so it's 1 tick behind or outside that 10% range of 48 ticks. Let's see how the include within option treats these two notes. Select both of them. My hunch is if I check include within and I plug in 10%, the top note will get quantized, but the bottom note, because it's outside the 10% range, should stay where it is. Let's try it. Sure enough. Okay. Let's undo that. Let's deselect that and do the exclude within. And now the bottom note only will get quantized because the top note is, we're excluding notes within the 48 tick range and only grabbing things that are outside of that. That is kind of a handy option to just get the real rhythmic outliers and leave everything else kind of where you played it. Okay, let's just try that, and you can see, of course, just the bottom note gets quantized. So anyway, not something you're going to use a heck of a lot, but worth knowing about and worth experimenting with, especially when you're trying to give playing something, maybe a ballad that's needs a lot of feel to it and a lot of emotion. It sounds like you really played it as opposed to something that's so tightly MIDI quantized. So anyway, we'll continue on with Quantize, the last feature called Swing, in the next lesson.